What is up, YouTube? It's White Rabbit, and we are back with another recap of the SPL Week 4 games that went over the weekend. Gotta say, if you saw my last video, you know I couldn't predict some of the things that happened this week. Great gameplay. I mean, who would have thought that the Atlantis Leviathans were going to beat the Styx Firemen? Who would have thought that the Jade Dragons were going to 3-0 the Atlantis Leviathans? It was the things I could not predict. So let's break it all down in this recap video, and then stick around to the end where I make predictions for what's coming up next weekend, and we'll see if I can get those right. Let's dive right into it. All right, start off the weekend. We had the game that I was most hyped for and also the most let down by, the Atlantis Leviathans versus the Styx Ferrymen. Now, I knew this was going to be a close game. I knew it was going to be a fun one to watch, but I just wasn't expecting the Ferrymen to lose. I expected it was going to go 3-2 to the Styx Ferrymen, and ended up going 2-3 to the Ferrymen. The Atlantis Leviathans won it, and yeah, I just could not expect that. But then the game following that up was the Highland Ravens versus the Camelot Kings. Now, I personally thought that the Camelot Kings had this one. I didn't think that the Ravens were looking too well this year. I thought it was going to go 1-3 Camelot Kings. No, I was absolutely wrong. It went 3-0 to the Highland Ravens. They came out of the gate swinging, and it was great to watch. Like, I was not expecting that. But so day one of the weekend, Friday, was an absolute powerhouse of a day, and I gotta say, great Smite all around. All right, day two started out with a little bit of a easier game in my opinion. It was the Styx Ferrymen versus the Gilded Gladiators. I predicted the Styx Ferrymen were gonna come out just swinging and go 3-0, but the Gilded Gladiators were able to pull one game off the Styx, but the Styx Firemen still won 3-1. Like, I was pretty close on my prediction, so I'll kind of take this one. But the next game between the Camelot Kings and the Eldritch Hounds, I said that the Eldritch Hounds were going to 3-1 the Camelot Kings. No, on this one, the Camelot Kings 3-0'd the Eldritch Hounds. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense because the Camelot Kings lost to the Highland Ravens, who I think the Highland Ravens are worse than the Eldritch Hounds. So, like, how is this happening? Like, I am so lost on my predictions for this weekend. It was insane. It was insane. And speaking of insane, on day three, we had the Jade Dragons versus the Atlantis Leviathans. Now, I predicted that the Jade Dragons were going to lose 1-3 to the Atlantis Leviathans. The Leviathans are looking really good. The Jade Dragons, I don't see in one of the upper echelons as like the Oni Warriors, Atlantis Leviathans, or Styx Ferrymen. However, the Jade Dragons 3-0'd the Atlantis Leviathans. How did this happen? How is this happening? I am so lost. It doesn't make any sense. It was great Smite. I love seeing, like, PBM absolutely tear shit up on support, but I don't understand how the Jade Dragons actually 3-0'd the Atlantis Leviathans. So there is some crazy things happening right now, and I'm here for it. This is great Smite. It makes things more interesting. And finally, we closed out the weekend with the Oni Warriors versus the Highland Ravens. This is something I more or less expected. Oni Warriors, I predicted 3-0'd the Highland Ravens. It ended up being a 3-1. So I was off by one again. The Highland Ravens were able to pull a game off the Oni Warriors. But it was still great Smite. And I gotta say, this weekend, absolutely crazy. So that's just how it goes sometimes. But now let's get into the predictions. All right. So obviously, last weekend, just got to go on a disclaimer here. I got it wrong. I got it wrong. So maybe don't use these for your Twitch points, but this is where I think that the games are going to go. Okay, day one we have on Friday, which would be the Camelot Kings versus the Gilded Gladiators. I'm going 3-0. I think the Camelot Kings are going to 3-0 the Gilded Gladiators. Even though I don't think that the Kings are one of the top tier teams, I think that the Gilded Gladiators aren't doing hot, and I think that they're going to give up these games. Next, we have the Styx Ferrymen versus the Eldritch Hounds. Again, I think it's going to be a quick day. I think the Styx Ferrymen are going to 3-0 the Eldritch Hounds. I don't really see much competition in these games. So I think Friday is going to be a quick day. Saturday, I see taking a lot of time. Okay, we have the Camelot Kings versus the Jade Dragons. I think that this is going to be a surprisingly close game. I think it's going to go to the Jade Dragons 3-2. and I'm hoping, but I could be wrong. This one is gonna be this is gonna be a challenging game. Then to follow that up, we got Oni Warriors versus the Styx Ferrymen. Now these are the two teams that I'm like putting at the top. So this also I think is gonna be a close game, but again I'm biased, so I'm gonna go 2-3 to the Styx Ferrymen. I think that the Oni Warriors are going to lose this one. Finally, we have on day 3, we have the Highland Ravens versus the Gilded Gladiators. Now, as much as I think that the Highland Ravens are iffy, I think that they're still going to be better than the Gilded Gladiators. However, I think it's going to go 3-1 to the Highland Ravens. And finally, we have the Atlantis Leviathans versus the Eldritch Hounds. I think the Leviathans are going to win this one, but they're going to give up one game to the Eldritch Hounds, and that's how it's going to end. Write those predictions down. I'm telling you, I think I'm on to something this week. I feel it. So I'm really excited for next weekend's games. But I think that this is pretty on point. So let me know what you think down in the comments. If you guys are watching the SPL and everything like that and are getting all amped up for it, then drop a like. And until next time, VERVVX, good night.